Christy friends. I hope things are going well with our live stream here tonight and everything is going to go smoothly. I'm here on Tuesday, February 15th, and I'm going to show you how to make your own pattern paper and do a traditional one-sheet wonder, which you've seen me do many times with patterned paper, but this time we're actually going to stamp the paper that we're working on and then cut it up and make 4 cards. Now you could certainly cut the paper up into other configurations and get more cards out of it. I wanted to work on the basics tonight and show you this. So my apologies. Hi Barbara for missing last night, and those who maybe didn't see the update. Riley's doing quite well today, a nice, quiet, uneventful day. We're going to take that and go with it. All right, let's get started on what we're here to do. So what you need is a piece of white or vanilla. I'm going to use some basic white. And you need a stamp set and a couple of inks. Now I suggested 3, but I ended up grabbing 4 to do the cards that I just showed you. The stamp set I'm using is one I have not used in a donkey's age. Hi Brenda. And that is Forever Fern. And I know we used to have some paper when this first came out with this beautiful pattern, and I'm kind of replicating that in a sense, at least to my own interpretation. I'm going to use different greetings, but I am going to use that stamp set. So what I've done, I've gone ahead and mounted the, let's see, how many is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different stamps from the set. This one's not a leaf stamp, it's a splotchy, and that's a great one to add in and fill in some space. So when you do this technique, you want to start with your largest stamp first. That makes sense, right? You want it to cover the biggest areas. Now I know we're going to go off the page a little bit. A couple of caveats about this. When I do this one sheet wonder, I don't like my pieces of coloring to touch. I don't know why that is, but I don't like it. Some people do, and that's okay. That's totally, totally fine. So starting with my largest image, I'm actually going to use the lightest color. So I've got Pear Pizzazz, and then Old Olive, Just Jade, and Garden Green. So all green colors. So I'm going to start with Pear Pizzazz with my lightest color for the largest image. You do you. This is what I found works for me. So I'm going to ink it up. And this happens to be what we call a distinctive stamp set. That's indicated on the stamp set box usually. I don't see it on this one, but it's distinctive, and that just means it has a whole bunch of texture all on its own. So you just go ahead and ink up full strength and place your images, your first round of images, on your paper. And you want to move either the paper, let me move these blocks out the way, or your ink, or both, so that you don't have them all kind of going in the same way. Okay, I'm not worried about that little piece that didn't stamp quite nicely. You want them to kind of get images all over, and I think I ended up with about 8 or 9, that's 6 images of the large one. Space them out a little bit so that you've got some room to put the other ones in between. All right, so how many is that? 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. I think that's a good start. We'll come back, maybe not to that one, but we'll come back to Pear Pizzazz or possibly another ink color. So I'm going to just tuck that off to the side. Then I'm going to grab my second largest one, which is this image, and I'm going to go with a little bit darker ink. I think I'll go this time with Just Jade. That's my card base color as well. This is one of our ink colors. It's going to be retiring at the end of, on May 2nd. We're used to saying at the end of a month, but on May 2nd. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to fill in some spots. Again, the same idea. You kind of want to get close so you're not creating too many weird spaces. Oh, I know one thing I was going to say. If you're going to want to use this pattern again, take a picture of each iteration. So once you've done one set of stamping, take a picture and hang on to that. Hi, Glenda. And hi, Debbie. So glad that you're here. Yes, things went way better today. So you might want to take a picture of, say, all that Pear Pizzazz stamping, and then once you've added the next one. That's what I like to do, and it kind of gives me a chance to recreate it if I want to. Let's see, where should we slide this guy in? Trying not to have them all in the same places. So I want to be turning my paper, or I want to be turning my stamp, just to kind of get a different perspective. Let's see, we'll put this one here. And each time you do this, unless you take a picture and follow it to a T, you're going to have some different ways that it's going to turn out. Let's fix this little blob over here. There we go. I said in the beginning I don't like my colors to touch. That's just the thing that I have. All right, I'm going to put my Just Jade away for a sec. And now I'm going to grab, let's see, Old Olive. All kinds of greens. Now in these stamps, these are the 4 that I have left. In the set, there's 2 that are like this. I'm only using one of them. One of them kind of tilts to the left and one tilts to the right. It's the same sort of leaf. So I'm just going to use one of them because I'm kind of going all the way around. But of the ones that I have left, I'd say this one is kind of my next biggest size. So we'll ink this guy up and do the same thing. Continue the pattern of, no pattern of stamping all the way around. Now if I chose different colors besides green, totally it would have turned out differently. Move my paper now, right? It would have looked different again. And I think the more you do this, the better you're going to get at it, and the more variety you're going to see in it. Put this guy down here. I'm trying to be a little more judicious in leaving spaces for some of the other pieces. These colors are very similar, Pear Pizzazz and Old Olive. They're both sort of warm greens. All right, Debbie, I hope you guys are feeling better in your house. Having had a little illness. Nobody likes to be sick, for sure. All right, so then the next largest, or smallest rather, set of leaves, I've got green on me. I'm using this time garden green. So we'll stick this guy in. I don't want that one to come in. Oh, look at that little mess, but that's okay. That could be the spot I end up trimming off. So what's going to happen is I'm going to have this 11 by 8.5 piece of paper, but I'm going to cut it down to fit 4 cards of 4 by 5.25. So I'm going to have layers to cut down. It just seemed easier to start with a full-on sheet. We'll get some of these going this way. Actually, I think I even did a better job this time around than, say, last time. I did the other cards as a test run. And you can stick parts of them on the edges. That's another fun way to add, because you may or may not use that little edge. So a piece kind of could go in here. And maybe something here. Okay, and then I've used the 4 different colors. Now what I'm going to do is, with these 2, I'm going to pick 2 of the 4 colors, and I'm going to do some generational stamping or stamping off so that I get the tone but a little bit different. So let's see, I think I really like Just Jade for this. And maybe Pear Pizzazz, because I can make that a little bit lighter. Alrighty. so let's start with this one here. This is the one that there's two of the same in the stamp set, and this leaf is not too similar. Actually, you know what? Maybe we'll do the Pear Pizzazz one. It's not too similar in shape. I'm trying to kind of avoid similar shapes. Probably overthinking it a little bit. Let's do some Pear Pizzazz stamping off. All right, so basically I ink it up and I stamp it off once, and then I put it down on my One Sheet Wonder page. And it comes out just a little bit lighter. And you can instead stamp off twice if you want. This is yours. You do what you want to do with it. That one had a little bit extra ink. I squished it in a little bit more. I'm going to move this along. Let's put this one this way. Stamp it off. I feel like I need some of this color, so I may go back in with that one. All right, that's it for this for right now. I want to bring in another color, so let's use our Just Jade for a nice bright color. Okay, how can my battery saver be on? Hold on one sec. I'm going to plug in. There we go. We don't want to lose our power. Oh my goodness. So I hope you got a good picture there. So now we use our Just Jade, and we're going to use the Splatter Stamp. This one I used quite liberally on the last one. I'm not doing a lot of thinking about where this is going because the pieces as a splatter just fill in nicely, and they don't have to be all the same size and shape, and they can kind of overlap stamps without being a problem for me, because it's, you know, all about what I'm thinking there. Let's see, put one there, put one there, and there, filling up here, yeah, maybe something in here. Let's see. It's just kind of one of those things you just kind of look around and see where you want to add it. I don't have too much white space on the outside edges, which is kind of helpful. This one here, let's get some garden green. So you kind of go back afterwards or after you've cut it and make a few adjustments and kind of go, okay, I need a little of this or I need a little of that. And remember to grab your ink, your cleaner, whatever you use, whether it's the chamois or the Simply, or the, she says that she doesn't do that. I use the Simply, the little chamois thing here that used to be purple, or our original Stampin' Mist. And so this one's going to be in a little bit of green. I just want to add a little bit more contrast here and there. All right, and that makes me realize I need a little of this. Need a little of this, and that was Just Jade, I believe. But we'll clean the block just for good measure. Needs a little something here. Okay, there we go. I'm happy with that. So again, I've got my 8.5 by 11 inch piece. Oh, still feeling tired? Yeah, it could take a little bit of time, right, to start to feel better, for sure. Well, I'm glad you're on the mend. So now you want to grab your paper trimmer, and we're going to cut this down. Now, if you wanted to do a true, like a One Sheet Wonder that does a lot of different cards for more than 4, you could cut this into a pattern, and there's loads of patterns on the internet. Just look up OSW or One Sheet Wonder. What I want to do is cut it into 4 equal pieces, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm keeping this super simple. And I'm going to cut it in these larger pieces first, And then I'm going to see where I want to trim it down because I have a bunch of options. Okay, so there's my 4 pieces trimmed down. I need some card bases. So I grabbed 2 pieces of Just Jade, and I'm going to score them first at 5.5 along the 11-inch side. That means I only have to cut it once, and I'll have a score line on both. Score once, cut once. So score at 11 and at 5.5 rather on the 11-inch side, and then turn it and cut it at 4.25. And there we go. There's our card bases. And now I just want to start taking a look at the pieces of paper, score those, and decide where I want to trim those off so that they'll fit nicely. You can do a couple of things. You can just put them as a 4 by 5.25 inch on here. Thanks, Debbie. On your card base. Keep it super simple. If you're doing this as a class, if you're a demonstrator and you want to do this as a class, super, super simple. Or you could add one of those colors as a layer, and then you would cut this down to, say, 3 3/4 by 5. But you've got lots of options. I'm going to keep this rather simple. Or hey, let's just do that. Why don't we just do that? I'll reach behind me and grab Crafted on the Fly. I'm going to grab a piece of Pear Pizzazz, and I'm going to cut a layer down to 4 by 5.25. So I'm going to cut it at 4 this way, and then a couple of 5.25. This will be layers, and then we'll cut the other ones down a little bit smaller. Why not? And then this one has to go down to 4. On my bigger trim, I'm just trying to avoid having to pull the arm out here, but on my other trimmer I would have cut it a little bit differently. But 5.25 and 5.25. There we go. So now I'm going to cut these little ones, or these patterned ones that I've created, down to 3 3/4 by 5. And then that will fit beautifully on top of my layer, on top of my card base for some beautiful green. Okay, so at this point I'm going to look at it and go, well, so where do I have some white spot or some weird spots showing? Where's the best place to cut this bit off? And honestly, I think this piece turned out quite nicely. I think I can cut it down to 3 3/4 from this side. That's the part I'm going to lose, but wait. Why don't we keep that and put that on the inside of the card? And then I'm going to cut this down to 5. I think I'd rather cut it from this end. There we go. All right. I'm going to put that one on there. So same thing, going to repeat the process. Cut this down to 5. Don't throw those out. You could probably use them for layers or something behind greetings or something like that. When they're that size, you've got a little bit more space, a little bit more piece to work with. So 5 inches long by 3 3/4 wide. This side. It's a visual thing. I think you just kind of look at it and go, yeah, that makes better sense. And you could also at the same time, once you've cut them down, you can decide, oh, I really need something to pop in for a different piece of color, and make that change if you want. No sense in overthinking it, but it's an option. We all would do it a little bit differently. Okay. Now we have our stamped layers. We have our card base layers that they're going to go on top of, and then we have our card bases. So let's get into assembly mode. I'm also going to bring in some ribbon. So this is the Just Jade and Gold, Just Jade and Gold It's a cottony ribbon. It's a braided ribbon, they say, with the gold braided through. Very pretty. I want to get that around these layers before it goes down on the card base. I want to wrap it around here. So I want to keep that in mind as I'm assembling. But that's my plan. So here's my liquid glue. Tell me, are you a liquid glue person, or are you a paper, or a maybe a Stampin' Seal or snail or tape runner type gal? I like the liquid glue. It's fast, it's repositionable if I goof up, so it works for me on lots of levels, but doesn't work for everything. Doesn't work great for ribbon, but it works wonderful for paper to paper. I like it on my 3D projects when I don't use tear and tape. It's just all around really good for me. It's called multi-purpose, and that it is. All right, so I'm going to stick this on here, and then you can like wiggle it into place a little bit. And I'm also not looking at it super closely. The ones I originally did, I was watching to see if the orientation up and down. Once I get the ribbon on, I can take a peek at that and see that I've got it going. I don't have too many leaves going up and down instead of going up versus down, in case I want the ribbon to go this way or I want the card to go this way. I can kind of take some time to take a peek at that. And here we go with this. Lovely, 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 lovely. We are going to get some warmer temperatures here. How amazing is that going to be? Hey, Glenda. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, mostly liquid glue. Definitely good to hear. Yeah, thanks for they just, like, the stamp set so totally does it. It really does. All right, so now from wrapping my ribbon around, here's what I do when I'm doing a knot, is I kind of stick it around this way, and then I figure I need an extra 3 inches on either side roughly. I don't overly measure it because I'm like, you get kind of carried away. And then I'll take this to the bolt and I'll just pull off the 4 that I need. Super simple. And do I mess up sometimes? Yes, I do. But, you know, there's still lots of ribbon on the bolt. All right, so now I'm ready to put these on, but I'm going to wrap the ribbon first. And there's lots of ways to conserve ribbon. This one's retiring, so I'm happy to be using it up. I've had it in my stash for a while, and it just seemed to be the perfect shiny ribbon to use with this card. And I love how when you actually pull this ribbon, it tightens up a little bit without bunching. It's quite nice. All right, and so with that, I'm going to grab some dimensionals over here. And pretty much whenever I use ribbon on the back, I'll pop the layer up with dimensionals. I've glued it down, but it gets a bit bulky behind from time to time. So this is a good time for me to use 5 dimensionals. There we go. Pop that in here onto the front of the card. And then these pieces that I have left over, so some of them are 4 1/4 and some of them are 5 1/2, right? So I'll just grab, well, I'm going to have to cut them no matter what I do. Well, the 4 1/4 I won't. Think ahead. I don't have to, because that's exactly the width of the card. So my 4 1/4, can you see that? I can put this down here, and boom, I'm not wasting anything. Maybe I'd be smart and put the 5 1/2 on my envelopes. I don't tend to store my cards with their matching envelopes. I tend to keep my cards separate from my envelopes. That's just me. We all do our own thing. So we're taking a little bit more time tonight because I have nowhere to be. So I might as well be here with you and show you how I finished up these cards. I also did this one sheet wonder for my team this month. I do a tutorial every month that I give to my team. It has usually 4 cards, sometimes 6, and it's often one bundle or set, stamp set, or something that I don't think anyone's going to really gravitate to in the catalog, but that, you know, I did, so that I can show it to them on how to use it different ways. And I thought this month that it would be fun to do a one-sheet wonder like this, and so I made 6 cards for them. I cut them out a little bit differently, but I love this idea. I think the first person I saw who did it was Tina Zink from Nova Scotia, and she had done some very quick Christmas cards this way, and I thought, oh, that's a very cool idea. All right, that's that. Let's grab a piece of this to slide on the inside. Thank you for watching this with me tonight and for hanging in there. I am going to probably record the Facebook Live I had planned for last night and post it. Okay, this must be a smaller piece. What the heck? What happened there? It's not quite as wide as I needed it. All right, so if that happens to you, take a wider piece. Oh, you know what? I probably cut one side first, which meant I had a shorter side to cut when I cut the pieces off. So if that happens to you, just add a larger size and then snip off the edge. Boom, done. No special cutting techniques required. Yes, I am going to add greetings to these in case you're wondering. Toss this guy out the way. We're halfway through. I just love these colors together. So nice. It's fun to find a color combination to work with as well. That's a challenge I like to throw out to my team from time to time. It's a color challenge. You know, try working with colors that maybe you would never have thought to go together. We all have been around long enough. We probably remember the old color coach that would tell you what colors kind of go nicely together. I think if you just grab your cardstock and pick up pieces, your eye will tell you how nicely they go together. But the best, very, very best way is to find our pattern paper and use those colors that they list as your color combination. All right, I'm going to pop up and look at that. I did a one-sheet wonder last year for St. Patty's Day. It's so easy when you stamp up, yes, an 8.5 by 11. Quick and easy to make a bunch of cards. Absolutely. Especially with greens for St. Patrick's Day. That's a very cool idea. All right, so I'm going to tuck this one down here. I don't normally decorate the inside of my cards, so I just want to say I think this is pretty cool of me to come up with this on the fly here. That's something to do. All right. I don't mind that it's this Just Jade on the inside. I think that's easy enough to find a marker to color with, or to write in with, rather. And then I didn't want to use the stamp set that I used for the images, for the greetings. I decided for the greetings I'd go to something else, and I kind of had a purpose in mind. I like the Peaceful Moments stamp set because it has a lovely variety of greetings, but also because these 4, where's the other one? Thinking of you with all my heart, happy birthday with deepest sympathy, and thank you, all fit on a number of our punches, one of which I'm going to show you tonight, which is the fancy label punch. I held off buying it because I had a bunch of punches with the same size, covered the same size of greetings. And I finally said, I got to get this because I really like it. And it has a bunch of other features to it. And so since I got it, that's the one I've been using. Oh, I need to put a piece of this on the inside, and then this card will be done. So I will show you Peaceful Moments greetings with the fancy label punch. Label me fancy, label me fancy. Punch. Here we go. All right. So there's all of our card bases. And these look a little bit different to these, right? Look at that. Being popped up with some other color in there and a little bit less white space. Got a different look altogether. So I'm going to use Just Jade for my greetings. Here's that punch that I like, and I haven't used it to its fullest with this little slit and the little hole here, but I'll get onto that too. Just Jade. Let's clean off a block so we have one to work with here, shall we? And we'll grab Happy Birthday. So I'm giving these away as a gift. I have a couple of friends with birthdays coming up, so I'm going to package up the 2 packages of cards. Now I love a punch because sometimes I don't stamp the stamps evenly. Sometimes when I put the backings or the labels on the blocks, when I put the labels on the stamps, I get them crooked. But that's what I love about a punch, is I don't have to worry that it's crooked, because I can stick this into there and punch it out and drop it on the floor. Because that's the only exercise I seem to get these days. And boom, that works so well. So that's my first one. I'm just going to grab my stamps out of the box to keep from having to open and close it. And thinking of you with all my heart. These have also lovely dies to go with them. I haven't used them in a while either. Time to get those out. Get this one here. And with Deepest Sympathy. I love this sympathy one. I love this stamp. You can tell because it doesn't want to stay on the block. Time to clean that off. But I love the font on that one. So we'll slide this guy in here. I think we're going to need to cut some of the excess paper off here. So I can slide the punch in. There we are. Thinking of you with all my heart. And with Deepest Sympathy on the other side. And then one more piece of scrap from my handy trusty bin next to me here for the thank you. Love the font on this. Very nice. And the punch. Anyone else nervous about those card bases getting in the ink? Yeah, I'm starting to get a little nervous about that myself. Usually pretty good about closing up my ink pads so we don't have any disasters. All right, now the easy part, some decorating and some greetings. And I know people who don't put their greetings on their cards till they're ready to use them. That is a great idea. Make up a bunch of cards. Do a bunch of greetings, either this way with a punch or our cool mini messages stamp set and dies, because those dies, you can run it like you stamp all the stamp at once, all the greetings at once on one big stamp, and then you cut them all out in the same way with one big die. Very, very, very cool. Very cool. All right. Thank you with all my heart. Well, take a look. After you drop it on the floor, sort of roll over with your... Yeah, I know, I missed that step, right? And then I can end up with it glue on the bottom and it ends up on the dog's foot. Like that's exactly what happens. Or my foot. Sometimes I go upstairs and it's on my foot. Yeah. Missed a step, Debbie. Missed a step. Okay, so here are my 4 cards. And I thought a nice embellishment to go with would be the Gilded Gems. These are really nice. I don't use the big ones quite as often, but I like the small and medium. So then I tend to use the big ones all at once for one project. Or in my classes. I like to let my customers have those on their cards. So these are really big jewels, even the small ones. And I find you can just stick one on there and it has a lot of messaging to it. All right. So my 4 cards made tonight. Thank you so much for watching with me, and I hope you give this a try with some other colors. And then my original 4, now I have, in less than an hour, 4 cards, 2 sets of 4 cards to give away as presents to friends. All right, I will see you guys later. Have a wonderful week. Thanks for watching. Bye now.